But in our defense, the way that they played all year last year, I mean, I knew that they were going to get the stop. But it's still, this being in Seattle with that stadium, with the crowd, the anxiety was definitely through the roof. It was a great anxiety. I loved it.
George, you mentioned the crowd in Seattle. What's it going to be like going there in an empty stadium? How different is that as an offense, not having to deal with that?
I mean, it's going to be like a home game here. So far that we played in 3 games so far, or 4 games now at home, with no crowd. It's definitely weird, but the fact that we get to go there and there's, we're going to be able to hear every cadence, not to go on the silent count. It's going to be refreshing, and I'm looking forward to it because it does definitely, I think, gives the offense an advantage.
Hey George, we've talked a lot. We've talked a lot the last couple times you've been up here about your mentality, playing in the dark place and all that. What about Kyle's mentality as a coach? Yesterday, I asked him about it, and he said that he gets revved up to the point that he wants to bite somebody's head off or something like that. I'm wondering if you've noticed that intensity from him before games as well.
Yeah, Kyle, he attacks it. He's definitely in his own zone, is what I would say, on game days. He loves. I mean, you would think that he was out there playing the game, and that's what I love about him because of how much emotion and how much effort and how much time he puts into it. I mean, that's really all of our coaches. Everyone's just kind of in their own different zone on game day, and it's really fun to be a part of something like that because the whole team, coaches included, staff included, we're all on the same page.
Hey George, what have you seen just in the last couple of years getting to know Jason Verrett, and what is his story how does it resonate with you?
JV's always been awesome. Ever since he first got here, all he's done is work. And I know he's got definitely dealt with some injuries since he's been here. After coming off, I think it was the ACL, right, with San Diego/LA. But I mean, all he's done is work, and that's all. When at a place here with the Niners, and all we try to do is work as hard as we can to be as good as we possibly be, and you see that and his work ethic and his commitment to it, to both his recovery and just his body in general, and then to the game plan, and just to see him succeed. I'm not surprised because I see the work that he puts in behind the scenes, but I love to see it. There's nothing I really enjoy more than watching people take advantage of the opportunity that they're given, and that's what he's doing right now. And he's taking that to a whole nother level, and he's playing at such a high level right now. And I know when he gets a pass breakup or an interception, the team definitely gets fired up because he has his own energy out there, and you've been able to feel that all year.
George, when Kyle gives you guys the game plan on Wednesday, and there's some stuff that you haven't seen before, how difficult is it to digest those things and learn it in a way that it's second nature, so you're comfortable running it for Sunday?
That's every week, man. I mean, you just get used to it. You have to expect, kind of be stumped on some things, and definitely the first walkthrough because you install the pass plays and then you install the run plays, and you go out to walk through 15 minutes later, and you just installed 80 plays, and now you go walk through them, and then you go in for an hour to study, and then you go back out to practice. So Wednesdays are always tough, and it's just you just got to be familiar with it, comfortable with it. And then by the time you get to Thursday and Friday, you feel completely comfortable with all the looks, all the plays. You don't have to think twice about it. But Wednesdays are always tough. But you learn how to study it. You learn how to categorize the plays and stuff like that. And so it's not as difficult. But it's a challenge, but I love it.
Hey, George.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm excellent. How are you today?
I'm doing really well.
Good.
Yeah. Fantastic. I know it's, as a player, talking about the opponent, you got to pump them up and everything. But, I think it's fair to say the Seattle defense has been struggling. Obviously, it hasn't had Jamal Adams giving up tons of yards and whatnot. Do you see, you've seen them, obviously, this will be your fourth season, again, I realize you can't really sit there and criticize them, but what's going on there, and what are maybe some of the differences? Is it the personnel, or have they done anything to change their scheme?
I mean, I don't know. I know they do some different stuff. They're not playing they usually 99% cover 3, and they're doing a couple different things here and there. But I mean, any defense that has Bobby Wagner in the middle is a very good defense in my opinion. And if you don't account for Bobby Wagner, then he's going to ruin your day. I mean, he's very similar to Aaron Donald in that mindset, in my opinion. If you don't account for him, then he's the guy that prevents the big plays from happening. He's the guy that makes it a 6-yard gain instead of a 20-yard gain or a house call. He's the guy that saves everything. He's the guy that gets everyone in the right position. So anytime you have to play against Seattle and you have to play against Bobby Wagner, it's going to be a tough challenge. And I know maybe their stats, or they're giving up more yards or points or whatever, but the teams are just playing them well, and we're going to go into that game fully expecting them to be at their absolute best and and hold us to a few yards. That's what their goal is, and we're just going to try to put up as many points as we can. Well, hello.
Hey, George. Hi. You always look for the challenge. So going against Bobby, it's probably one of the things you're looking forward to, as well as Jamal Adams. What do you see from those guys? What are you looking forward to about facing them the most on Sunday?
Bobby Wagner, as a competitor, it's just so fun to watch him play, and it's really fun to compete against him. Like I said, because he's a guy that if you're not accounting for him, he can change every single play, which is really, really impressive. I've never played Jamal Adams before, so I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, I did in the Pro Bowl, so that was kind of cool. So I don't know if that counts. But I'm looking forward to playing him because he's an incredible player, and the energy he has out on the field is absolutely insane. And whether he's pressuring or whether he's just in coverage, he's always very physical, and he always knows how to make a play. And Diggs, back there, he's an incredible player as well. So they got really good players at key positions that can all cause turnovers or stop plays pretty quick. And it's going to be really fun to go up there and play them again because last year and the year before that, they've all been a lot of really good games. So looking forward to it.
Hey, George.
Hi. Whoa, nice hat, man. You Mike McGlinchey?
Yes, I'm Mike McGlinchey.
Nice. You guys got the same
I noticed
smile.
you like. What's that?
You got the same smile.
Well, I like to be like him. He's someone we can aspire to all act like.
True.
So I notice you like to greet us and say hello before we ask our questions.
Yeah.
And what I'm wondering is, do you do the same thing on the field during games to opposing players when you're lined up across them before the play starts?
More often than not, yeah. Oh, he's muted. Can you unmute him? All right, keep going.
And what's their reaction when you say something like, "Hey, how's it going, dog?"
I either get silence, they swear at me, or we start having a conversation. Just depends on the guy, but I always throw some feelers out there to see what I'm going to deal with the whole day. But it's fun for me because I jump from side to side, so I get to go up against a bunch of different people, and it's really funny because maybe I'm on the right side and the guy will tell me to shove it and shut up. While I go to the left side, we'll have a conversation the entire game. So it's fun for me, and I like to have those conversations.
Hey, George, there's always been a lot of talk about Deebo being kind of like a running back, but I think Sunday was probably the first time he was used actually as a running back. How much of a kick do you get out of him being used like that? And then how do you guys sort of compensate for him being out?
I get a kick out of it every single time he touches the ball because he just runs through people and he runs through contact, and just the way he runs, it definitely inspires the whole team to play more physical. And that's all we're trying to do is play as physical as we possibly can, and Deebo embodies all of that. And whether he's line up in the backfield, it's a jet sweep, or he's running a route, he's always going 100 miles an hour, which is really fun to see. And you can just watch him the way he runs and how he sets up blocks. He's so good at that. And so, yeah, having him is incredible. And definitely not having him it's a challenge. But we've been down a lot of guys all year, and always have someone step up. And I know we don't have another Deebo on the roster, but I'm fully confident our coaches being able to account and give other guys opportunities. And it might not be Trent Taylor on a jet sweep, but it's going to be Trent Taylor getting the ball in space, or anyone really as our wide receivers, whether it's our fullback, whether it's Dwelly, whether it's me. Our coaches always account for guys, and it's really fun to see that. Last one, guys. Better be a good one.
I have a great one for you, George.
Ooh, okay.
It can be on or off the field, but what's one thing about Jimmy Garoppolo that you like the most? And counter, what's one thing that Jimmy does that you just absolutely cannot stand?
Let's see. On or off the field, doesn't matter. Let's see. Oh, what I love about Jimmy, definitely the weight his voice carries on the sidelines is always, it's awesome. It's every time he says something, the whole sideline kind of snaps to see what he has to say. And guys definitely look to him for leadership. and he carries that weight, and he carries it really well. I think something I always hate. I've always given him a hard time about how bad of a texter he is. He's actually gotten a lot better, so that's improving. He's definitely texted me a couple times. He actually texted me last night out of the blue, so I was pretty impressed by that. I say another thing I dislike about him, he always tries to steal he always tries to have the coolest shoes when he doesn't, and I do. So it's all right though. Yeah, I'll let him think that he wins some things, but not a lot versus me. See you guys. Of course. That's super.
All right, Coach. With Seattle, the pass rate on early downs has just exploded. I think they were last in the NFL 2 years ago. Now they pass more than anybody. I think they call it let Russ cook and all that's going on over there. Have you ever prepared for a team with similar personnel that has so drastically changed their offensive approach?
Off topic, I'm sure there has been. It's surprising. Usually Pete has been much more deliberate in letting the game roll, and I don't know if it's called more controlled and managed or not, because they're still managing the game, but it's definitely a different approach than what we're used to seeing out of Seattle, with control the clock, take care of the football, run, stay ahead of the chains, and all that stuff. So, but Russell's doing it, man. He's an unbelievable talent. They've got unbelievable wide receivers. Their O-line's blocking at a very high rate, and so with that comes a lot of yards, explosives, and points. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Hey, Robert. How do you feel about your guys' dime defense right now, and the fact that Jimmy Ward and K1 might be back? How will that help against Seattle?
It goes week to week based on how we want to use personnel and who's available to us. So we feel very good about that back end and being able to utilize all their different tools and what they're able to bring to the table. So it's a week to week thing. We feel great about our linebackers. Whether it's Quan Alexander and Greenlaw or Fred, we feel like we match up with people in the back end better than anyone in the league. And so based on week-to-week game plan, we can utilize every one of them.
Hey, Robert, what do you recall about when Jordan Willis came through before the 2017 draft? And what's your scouting report on him? And do you think that he'll get in for a few snaps on Sunday?
We'll see how the rest of the week goes, to answer the last part of your question. But, coming out of 2017, felt, he was a very productive player in college. A lot of speed, explosiveness, length, and all that stuff. Obviously, we weren't able to land him or anything. But, just throughout his career so far, not to say that he hasn't been used properly, because he's such a versatile athlete that you can use him any which way. He's just going to have the opportunity to do something that he hasn't done. He's played outside linebacker. He's stood up. He's dropped in coverage. He's played some defensive end, different than the type of defensive end. It's a different technique that we'll teach him here. But, he's going to get an opportunity to just let loose and get off the ball and rush the passer and set edges and play to the style that we play. And you never know. Hopefully it clicks for him. But he's going to get every opportunity. And when we feel like he's ready to roll, he'll be ready to roll. So.
Hey, Robert, during the broadcast on Sunday, Tony Romo quoted you or maybe paraphrased you as saying that as long as you had Fred Warner, you feel like you always have a chance. What is it about him that makes you believe that to be the case?
Fred is a million times now I've said it. He is one of the smarter players in football, especially at the linebacker position, in terms of being able to make different calls that puts a lot of stress on him to put us in the right call, based on formations, based on different things that we see from a formation standpoint, all without disrupting his ability to recognize the formation, recognize the D&D, recognize the situation, and still be able to play at a very, very high level. There's always that fine balance. You could always go overboard. We've done it with Fred before, where we put a lot on his plate. It was last year, Thursday Night Football versus Arizona. We put a ton on his plate. And to this day, that was a tremendous learning experience on what that limit is for Fred. And so always communicating between the two of us and with D'Amico to make sure that his plate is perfectly balanced. But you can do a lot with Fred in terms of just getting people where they need to be. And on top of it, him being able to use all his athleticism, because he is one of the more athletic linebackers in football also, along with being one of the smartest. It just makes for a player who's got a lot of range, and a lot of ability to man the middle of the field.
Hey, Robert, you've lost so many key players, key starters from your defense, and yet you're still one of the best defenses in the league right now. Can you give a layman's response as to why or how that's happening?
it goes back to the men in the room, and by men in the room, I'm talking about the players. You know, they work so hard. They're so deliberate in their approach. Every rep matters. Every clip they watch matters. Every practice rep matters, and they're very, very talented. It is a very, very talented group. And you know, after the Miami game, I know there was a lot of heat going around for everybody, and sat right at this table and said that the men in that room know they're a top 10, top 5 defense, and they're going to prove it. And they're out there playing their tails off like they have always played. And aside from one hiccup, I feel like they've been playing some great football, and the challenge is for them to continue to do it. And so it's hats off to them and the way they've gone about their business every single day since the beginning of the year.
Robert, have you seen a quarterback put together a stretch throwing a deep ball like Russell Wilson has so far this season? And also, when you have corners who aren't the biggest guys, what are the coaching points when you go up against a downfield threat the size of DK Metcalf?
To answer the first question on Russell, I've always felt that he's one of the better quarterbacks this league's ever had. That's just my opinion. I do think he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame one day. I probably speak for a lot of people when I say that. The man is phenomenal. He gets better every year, believe it or not. I mean, his deep ball is the best in football. He's finally got the weapons to answer it. I shouldn't say finally. He's had them before. I know there was some growing pains there in the last few years, but now he's got Lockett playing at a high level. He's got DK over there to relieve some stress off Tyler so he can free up. Their tight ends are dynamic. Carson, we'll see if he plays this week, but he's an unbelievable back. So they've got a tremendous amount of talent around them, and their O-line is the best it's been in a while. So they're tooled up, and there's a reason why they're tops in football. And then, of course, hats off to the OC Shotty. He's built a system there that fits their style, and they've got something going that's pretty good right now. So to answer your question on DK, when you got a big boy like that, you just got to play with great technique. Can't panic at the catch point. Just know that he's going to try to muscle you and not necessarily go blow for blow. But if you play with great technique, great vision, and you don't panic at the catch point, we feel like we'll be okay.
Hey, Robert, you were there when Russell just got into the NFL. Obviously, a very accomplished college quarterback and all that, so it's not like a huge surprise that he's had success. But, I mean, did you have any inkling he'd become what he is right now, his rookie or second season?
So I tell this story sometimes. I'll give it to y'all. But it was, we drafted him. Obviously, I was on the defense side of the ball. Didn't know anything about anything, to be honest with you. But it was rookie minicamp. And I swear to you, the first time he threw the football, he was one of those guys that you just had to look at when no one was looking at defense, no one was looking at the O-line, everyone was just looking at the quarterback. And at that point, I was like, man, this guy's going to be pretty damn good. Fast forward, we go to training camp, and, he's just plugging away, and every time he's on the football field, everyone's watching. At least I know I am. I'm just watching the quarterback. And towards the middle of that first training camp, you just go to dinner, and he's just sitting there, and all the O-linemen are around him. The players, people are just gravitating to him. And it was at that point, and Coach Carroll started him that third preseason game, and he puts up an astronomical number for our standard at the time, the Seahawks standard at the time. And it was at that point we're like, damn, we got something special. And so it happened fast, but it showed his growth from rookie minicamp to the first game of the year, and then even that first year. I mean, the guy is relentless in his studying. He's relentless in work ethic. He's relentless in trying to improve every single day, and he's got such a positive, aggressive mindset. There's a reason why he's had the success he's had, and I'm not going to pretend like I ever thought he'd be a Hall of Famer, but knew he'd be pretty damn good.
Do 3 more for Coach?
Robert, when news came out last week that both of your starting safeties would miss the Patriots game, it seemed like that might cost you the game. Clearly it didn't. Your defense was great, and it seemed like Tavarius Moore and Marcel Harris both made plays. How would you assess their play, and did your defense fall off in ways that the layman would notice without your starting safety?
I thought they did a really good job. They played within the scheme. They did their job. Obviously, there's always going to be things that they can clean up, but I'll give hats off over to Coach Oden and Daniel Bullocks and Rudy. I thought they did a really good job on such short notice because of the way Jimmy had to go out. It was Thursday night, and so they had basically Friday, Saturday to really crash course with Timor and get him as many reps as he can. Saturday walkthrough was designed to get those guys as many of the reps looks that they'd get. It was really focused on those two safeties, and to their credit, they did such a good job. The safeties, talking about Timor and Marcel, preparing for that game and making sure that they were on their job. And now that they've had another week, it's not to make anything up, but continue to do what they're doing and stay within the scheme and do their job and trust that if they do their job, they'll show up and they'll make plays because they are still gifted athletes.
Robert, we're almost halfway through this season. How has Javon Kinlaw developed, and how much are you putting on his plate as he continues on through this first season?
I don't know if he's getting his normal from a putting on his plate standpoint. He's getting normal workload and all that stuff. He's progressing like I would expect a rookie to progress. He is grinding through every wall that you can possibly grind through. We feel like he's done a really nice job in the run game, and obviously he still has a ways to go to improve and all that stuff. But he's just got to continue to get better. It's not always going to be clean, especially at this stage. He's learning something new every single game. I think it was a couple games ago he had some opportunities in pass rush, and a couple of them we talked about it, and he knew exactly what happened. He's like, man, I wish I would have. And that all comes with time and experience. And so for Javon, it's to continue to stay the course, continue to find ways to get better. But what's encouraging about him is he's recognizing when he could have done better on a play, and you're not seeing the same mistake twice. And if you have a player who can recognize things that happen that quickly, he doesn't need to go to the film room. He just knows it happened. When they're able to recognize it on the fly like that and make a in-game adjustment, you know that those players have a chance to be very special. And so for him, it's just to continue to get better, continue to focus on all those little details, and he's gonna be a good one. You can mark my words on that one.
Last one.
I know that coaches hate comparing players, but Fred Warner's been open in saying that he watches Bobby Wagner, he emulates Bobby Wagner. You have insight into both of those guys. When you look at Fred Warner, do you see aspects of Bobby Wagner's game? Can you kind of recognize the fact that Fred watches him closely?
Yeah, should be swag, and he's still putting together a lot of good film. I mean, he's one of the better linebackers this league's had. Bobby coming out, I mean, his athleticism, his length, his speed, it was freakish. And I thought Kenny Norton and the relationship that they built to really help Bobby understand football and turn into the player that he turned into, his instincts, his command of the huddle, his run past recognition and all that stuff. Bobby went off the charts over his first few years, and that's what you're seeing out of Fred. It's, they're very, very similar in that they've got tremendous respect and command of the huddle. They've got tremendous instincts and feel for plays and run key and pass recognition and all that stuff. And they understand football, and they have such a great feel for rush and coverage and routes and concepts and all that stuff, and where the quarterback wants to go with the football, and that's what makes those two so special. And so yeah, there's similarities for sure. They might be built a little bit differently, but the mental makeup of both of them is damn near identical.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
usually when you go up to Seattle, dealing with the noise is such a big factor, a big part of it. Are you looking forward to a game up there where you won't use silent count, be able to actually communicate with your guys in the huddle and things like that?
Yeah, definitely am. I'll miss the atmosphere up there. It's one of the cooler places to play, just with the fans and everything. But yeah, definitely with the cadence, the procedure, and all that stuff, it'll definitely make it easier for us. So looking forward to that.
Jimmy, the Seattle defense hasn't been having a great season so far. They've been giving a lot of yards and scores. Now that you've looked at the film a little bit, what do you see from them? Are there soft spots that you can take advantage of?
Yeah, there's some soft spots. They make you work for it though. It's not there's no gimmies against this type of defense. You gotta earn it, work your way down the field. It's just they're very sound, but it's unfortunate they've been giving up the yardage they have been. But it's a solid defense overall.
Jimmy, so going back to last year's playoffs, those first two playoff games, you didn't have to pass much. And people were joking whether your arm was getting tired or not. And now the last couple of games, you've obviously had a lot of success in the short passing game. So what I'm getting at is if it comes down to a shootout between you and Russ, I mean, how sharp are you in terms of throwing the ball deep down the field? And where's your confidence level with that right now?
I'm always confident in that. I think that's one thing that we do real well. Whether it's running, passing, whatever it is with this offense, kind of pick your poison. So, we've done it a number of ways last season and this season. So it's really just about, seeing what the defense is doing and just being able to adjust during the game.
Jimmy, given Kyle likes to install so many different plays on a weekly basis, what's it like for you as a quarterback to come in on Wednesday and see all the changes? And what's that process like in terms of trying to cram and make sure you know it all for the week of practice?
Well, you get more and more used to it, I would say. Having been in this offense for a while now, it's kind of just what you expect. Each week's a little different. Some weeks harder than the other. But, for the most part, I think we have a great group of guys who, are willing to learn that stuff. And, it's not easy. It takes time, and guys have to take it home with them and study it and get in their playbook, get on the film. But, with the veterans that we have on the team, especially offensively, just how we could do all those things that we do, it makes it a lot easier and makes us more dangerous.
Hey, Jimmy, it's probably around this time last year you guys were thinking, hey, maybe, we have something special. We have a Super Bowl team. This year it's been a lot of ups and downs. You do have some key guys who aren't going to be coming back. I don't know, do you have a sense of, this team's potential? Obviously, everyone wants to win a Super Bowl, but do you have a sense of maybe what you can accomplish?
Man, it's with the season and everything, it's such a long season that you try not to look that far ahead, just at the end result. But the process that we've been going through, I think, will serve us well down the road. It's not just a smooth sailing like it was last year, win after win. We've had, like you said, the ups and downs, and I think that's kind of made us battle tested just as a team, with guys getting hurt, having to bring guys up, whether it's practice squad or just, second stringers. It just makes your team overall that much better and that much more prepared later down the road, because, it's a long season and you don't know what's going to happen, who's going to be playing at the end of the year. So the more experienced guys could get, I think it's only going to serve us well.
Jimmy, going back to the last game in Seattle and that final play, do you remember what was going through your head in that moment?
Yeah, I really didn't even watch it. It was just such a, you do everything you can, and then, like you said, it comes down to that one moment, that one play, and, Dre made a phenomenal play, and I didn't even watch it, I'm pretty sure, to be honest with you, but then just the emotions that came in after that, it was something else.
Jimmy, I want to go off script here. The biggest sports story of the day today was about your Chicago White Sox hiring Tony La Russa as manager. What is your reaction to Tony La Russa taking over your Sox?
I actually just saw that. My brothers were all in a group text, so they shot that out. Yeah, I'm happy about it. It's exciting. Really didn't get to keep up with them much this year, just with the crazy season and everything. But yeah, White Sox all day, baby.
All right. Thank you, guys.
That's it. All right. See you guys.
Hey, Jason. When you're going up against a guy like DK Metcalf, who is a sizable dude, how do you psych yourself up? How do you approach that type of receiver?
You just got to play big. He's a big physical guy. He's having a hell of a season so far. It's going to be an exciting matchup for us, him and Tyler Lockett.
I think he goes something like 230 pounds. I mean, have you dealt with a guy with that type of power in the past? And how do you kind of go about that? How do you go about attacking a guy who's got that size advantage?
Yeah, I definitely played several big guys over the course of my career. Obviously, he's a different stature as far as with the explosion and his speed. You just got to play physical. He's probably going to try to, bully guys, and he's seen that he's shown that on film. But yeah, it's just going to be one of those matchups where the big boy pads got to come on.
Jason, this defense has lost so many of the guys who were starters the first week of the season, and yet in the last 2 games has been pretty dominant and is now a top 5 defense. Can you just talk a little bit or explain the mentality of how a unit that can lose so many key players can step up and what's going on the defensive side?
Yeah, no, that's just the mentality that we have as a whole, from the front to linebackers to the back end. Is that next man up mentality, not skipping a beat. And, you never know when your number's called, so you always got to be prepared. I think the coaches do a hell of a job at that, of making sure everybody's ready. And for the guys that's, behind the starters, they just watch how the starters practice. And, when your number is called, you just match that intensity.
Jason, I have 2 questions for you. One is I want to know what you remember from going up against Lockett back in your college days, which is about 6-7 years ago. And then what's the defense's mindset every time you guys get the interception? You all have to rush to the end zone to get posed for the picture.
Yeah, Lockett, man, we had great matchups in college. I got tremendous respect for him. Definitely a good receiver, shifty. Yeah, we had some real good battles in college. But yeah, as far as just turnovers, it's just part of what we celebrate at the back end, man. You always want to turn over the ball and get a chance to go in the end zone and flash and get a picture, man. It's just part of the game.
Jason, they're letting Russell kind of do whatever he wants to do this year instead of holding him out until the 4th quarter. Have you seen a big change in what you've watched from film so far?
Yeah, I mean, Russ is definitely a special quarterback. I feel in this game it's going to probably come down to the last drive. As we've seen on film, and all the games have all came down to the last drive, and Russell's been able to make things happen. I just think defensively we got to limit the explosive plays, try to just keep everything in front of us.
Hey, Jason, not that Russell Wilson is the only mobile or elusive guy you face. What do you do as a cornerback when a guy can, run around back there and keep his eyes downfield? Maybe I'm trying to impress you. I think the term is plastering. I mean, is that the key to plaster the receiver? Or, how do you hold up and defend, for 8-9 seconds, whatever it takes?
I mean, it's tough, but I feel if the defensive line can do what they've been doing all year long and what we've been doing in the back end of trying to keep them in the pocket, I think that'll definitely be a good point for us. But yeah, I mean, obviously Russell is good at being able to scramble and keeping plays alive, and you definitely just got to plaster and just stick with your man.
Jason, every time we talk to you, your injury history comes up and all that you've overcome. Do you loathe part of that process, like talking to us about all of that stuff, and just kind of want to move on at some point?
I just know what comes with it. I'm just embracing it, man. Obviously, it's something that's been, I guess, people used against me as far as all the injuries that I've been through, and just being able to overcome it and dealing with questions, dealing with all that. I'm just embracing it.
Jason, the theme of the week seems to be to compare your height just to DK Metcalf. But way back when you had an interception against the Raiders, against a 6'4" receiver where you high pointed the pass. And last season, Mosley played about as well as any cornerback has against Metcalf. I want you, if you could explain, how would you explain to somebody that height isn't a skill? And my second question to you is, what's your favorite track from Nip?
Well, I just got with, like I said, with DK Metcalf and guys of those statures, you got to play big. I think myself and Mosley, the advantage that we have is our foot quickness. I think being able to get closer to the hip, reading hips and hands when you're dealing with a higher stature receiver, I think that's probably the best way you can probably position yourself and being able to make plays is being able to play, the hands and his hands and eyes. As far as net, man, I got a lot of favorite tracks. Hustle and Motivate, Dedication, Down is a Great. Those are probably my top 3 that I listen to on a daily.
Thank you, Jason.
Yeah.